Sullivan's Crossing Season 4 needs to give this character a break. Tell me if I'm the only one who feels this way. But doesn't it seem like Sullivan's Crossing has a favorite punching bag? Because let's be real, every time Lola Gunderson finally takes one small step forward, the writers kick her 3 steps back. And I have to ask, at what point does tragedy stop being character development and start becoming straight up character torture? Now I know drama thrives on heartbreak, betrayal, and shocking twists, but have you noticed how Lola's entire existence in Sullivan's Crossing feels like one long misery loop? She's lost her mom, she's lost her grandfather, she's lost Jacob. Even when she finds a sliver of peace, the show rips it away. And here's the real kicker, none of this even started on screen. Her tragedy started before we even met her. Like the writer said, hey, you thought Maggie had it rough. Hold my coffee. Her problem, the pain point. Here's the problem. Sullivan's Crossing wants us to root for Maggie and Cal's messy romance. But in the process, they've accidentally turned Lola into the series' grief mascot. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just replay her storyline in your heady childhood accident. Bedridden, then her mother dies, then she's forced into becoming a caretaker, then her grandfather dies, then Jacob leaves. That's not just a backstory, that's a Trauma Olympics gold medal. And this brings me to the controversial point. Sullivan's Crossing Season 4 absolutely must give Lola a break. Because at this point, her arc isn't about resilience. It's about survival through punishment. And if the show keeps going in this direction, they risk alienating fans who are tired of seeing her drown in misery while other characters get redemption, love, or even comedic relief. By the way, quick pause. If you love diving deep into shows like Sullivan's Crossing, and you want more no-filter breakdowns of the messy writing choices, the forbidden secrets in the scripts, and the things no one else dares to point out, then you need to subscribe to Breakdown Epic right now. I'm Sophia, and trust me, you don't want to miss the next reveal we've got coming. He reveals secrets and forbidden knowledge. Here's the secret the writers don't want you to notice. Lola is being used as a narrative crutch. Think about it. Every time Maggie needs to grow, it's Lola's tragedy that highlights her flaws. Every time Sully needs to play the wise old man, it's Lola's grief he swoops in to fix. Every time the writers want a heartfelt moment, it's Lola crying again. And this is where the forbidden knowledge comes in. The novels Robin Carr wrote do not treat Lola this way. In the books, Lola is a single mom balancing jobs and even dabbling in renovation projects. Translation: she's actually a fully dimensional character in the source material. But in the show, they stripped her story down and piled on tragedy until she became unrecognizable. Why? Because grief is easy TV. It's emotional manipulation one-on-one. They know we'll feel bad for her, and that makes us forgive the weaker parts of the writing. But guess what? Season 4 is their last chance to change that. A mid-video engagement build. Uppy. Okay, let's play a little hypothetical. What if Sullivan's Crossing finally gave Lola a storyline that wasn't about loss? Imagine if instead of another funeral or heartbreak, she had a storyline about ambition, maybe clashing with professors at her university, maybe questioning her entire career path, maybe building something instead of tearing something down. Wouldn't that be so much more refreshing? Or let me ask you this. How many more times can they make Lola cry before it stops being sad and just becomes meme-worthy? Because I'll be honest, if Season 4 opens with Lola attending another tragic goodbye, I might just throw popcorn at my TV. And hey, do you remember back in Season 2 when everyone thought Maggie was being unfairly treated by the writers for constantly being pulled between her medical career and her small-town duties? Now it's Lola, but worse. At least Maggie got Cal and a big romance payoff. Lola just gets endless grief. But here's where it gets spicy. What if the writers are saving Lola for a bigger arc? What if all this loss is meant to position her as the true emotional anchor of Sullivan's Crossing in Season 4? Maybe even shifting focus away from Maggie. Think about it. Audiences are already complaining that Maggie and Cal's on again, off again relationship feels recycled. Could Lola be the hidden card the writers have been holding back? Alright, let's get real for a second. If you were writing Sullivan's Crossing, what would you do with Lola in Season 4? Seriously, drop it in the comments. I want to hear your forbidden fan pitches. Would you give her a career breakthrough? Would you finally let Jacob come back, so she can actually have a love story that sticks? Or would you go rogue and make Lola the new lead, pushing Maggie into the background for once? Because here's my hot take: Sullivan's Crossing is secretly setting itself up for a power shift. The writers know fans are frustrated with the repetitive Maggie-Cal cycle, the endless will, they won't they. It was fun in Season 1, tolerable in Season 2, but by Season 3 it started to feel like the show was trolling us. And guess who's been quietly waiting in the wings, carrying all the emotional weight without being rewarded? Lola. I'll be blunt. If the writers don't pivot and give her a break, fans will check out. Because there's only so much tragedy you can recycle before people say, yeah, I'm done. Think about shows like Grey's Anatomy. Every time a character faced tragedy after tragedy, eventually audiences lost sympathy and just started joking about who Shonda Rhimes was going to kill off next. Do we really want Sullivan's Crossing to be the Virgin River knockoff that turns into a meme factory? An audience polling and humor quick poll. Raise your hand metaphorically, because yes, I see you scrolling at 2 AM if you've ever shouted at your screen during a Lola scene. Just let her be happy for once. Be honest, I have. More than once. And yeah, maybe I got a little too invested. I'm not ashamed. Also, side note, if the writers give Lola another funeral storyline, I swear I'll start a drinking game. 1 shot every time she cries. 2 shots every time she loses a loved one. Actually, no, scratch that. We'd all be hospitalized before episode 2. But joking aside, this is where I think season 4 has its make or break moment. They could either keep Lola stuck in her grief cycle, or they could reinvent her. A deeper reveal, forbidden knowledge. And here's something a lot of people don't know unless they've dug into Robin Carr's novels. In the books, Lola is not this endlessly tragic figure. She's a hustler, a survivor, a single mom grinding through 2 jobs while trying to pursue her own dreams. That's powerful storytelling. That's character growth. But the show, they cherry-picked her backstory, then overstuffed her with grief to the point where she's become a side note in her own life. And I can't shake the feeling the producers knew audiences would emotionally latch onto her. Because tragedy sells. It's cheap, it's fast, and it guarantees tears. But real fans, true fans, want more than just tears, we want triumph. Now imagine if season 4 dared to align closer to the novels. Imagine Lola becoming a true force in Timberlake, not just the town's sad girl, taking control of her future, standing toe to toe with Maggie not as an antagonist but as an equal. That's the Lola arc that could save the show from falling into predictability. Hypotheticals, the what if game. Picture this: Lola goes head to head with a ruthless professor who tries to block her degree, or she clashes with a boss who pushes her too far, or maybe, just maybe, she takes on a renovation project in town that forces her to confront her past while building her future. Wouldn't that be so much more compelling than another heartbreak montage? And here's the dangerous question. What if Jacob doesn't come back? What if season 4 ends with Lola realizing she doesn't actually need Jacob, or any man, to define her story? What if Sullivan's Crossing pulls the rare move of showing a woman truly thriving on her own terms, without a romance payoff? Would fans celebrate it, or would the shippers riot? Our direct audience interaction, I want you to answer that in the comments. Do you think Lola's season 4 arc should focus on romance, career, or independence? Be honest. If you were in charge, what's the storyline you'd give her? I'll pin the most interesting answer, and maybe we'll revisit it in a future breakdown. Also, remember when I roasted Maggie's love triangle last season? Yeah, this is my sequel. Because if the writers keep recycling heartbreak, they're basically daring us to roast them again. Closing build, up and Stia, here's where we land. Sullivan's Crossing season 4 has 2 options. Keep Lola drowning in grief until audiences check out. Flip the script, give her a real break, and let her rise. If they pick option 1, Lola becomes the tragic wallpaper of Timberlake, forever in Maggie's shadow, forever suffering for the sake of cheap tears. If they pick option 2, Lola becomes the show's secret weapon, the breakout character who finally shifts the balance of power. And trust me, if that happens, we'll be here breaking down every forbidden clue, every shocking twist, and every hint the writers drop. So here's what I want you to do. If you're tired of watching Lola suffer, hit that like button. If you think she deserves a win, share this video so more fans can see it. And most importantly, if you want the unfiltered breakdowns no one else dares to do, subscribe to Breakdown Epic right now. I'm Sophia, and I'll be here pulling the curtain back on all the messy secrets the shows don't want you to notice. Until next time, remember, in Timberlake, tragedy may be contagious, but hope is the ultimate plot twist. And hey, if season 4 actually gives Lola another funeral storyline, don't worry. I'll be right here with popcorn, ready to roast it with you.